Digifora. We have myself, Haley Veturis, and Justin Brackett on the show today. Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy hour to you.
Yes.
Got my fancy glass. Mm-hmm.
It's the
Got
best
it.
part
You
of the
took a
day.
sip when we cheersed. Good
I know.
job.
Last week I was 0 for 3 on that whole process.
That's okay. Quick learner. Love to
Yes.
see it.
Digital happy hour. It's a new thing for me as a Southerner and a Southern Baptist.
So sometimes you need to hit up happy hour a little sooner than others. And today it just kind of feels like one of those days. And on today's show, we are going to be talking about how work has its highs and its lows. And 1 minute you're celebrating a client and all the great work you're doing with them, only to come back to an email from maybe a potential client that was just a little frustrating. So that would be considered a low for the day. But let's talk about, Justin, how we navigate these highs and lows in the workplace, but not only just in the workplace, because you have to balance that with your personal life as well.
Yep.
And we are unique in that we run our company bi-coastally. So I'm in California and Justin's in Southern Georgia.
Yep.
And so we completely work remote from home. So there's a balance, work home life balance as well. That was a lot of balancing going on, but
there's a lot of it happening.
So what would you say we can't really share, we cannot share our clients because we have a lot of NDAs that we sign.
That's correct.
So we can only give examples with ambiguous company names or just say client A, client B.
And if you're listening to this or watching this later and you hear a beep and something blur out over our mouths, it's because we slipped and we had to go back and edit it.
Probably not. I'm not that great of an editor, but
we'll figure it out.
You can find someone to do that. So what kind of a week would you say, what's your gauge on this week for Digifora, Justin?
Yeah, this week has been a very difficult week. And it's a lot of, you and I are competitive and we would like to be batting 1,000 on
We're
all
both
of our
wearing
pitches.
Braves gear today.
Yes, we are, because they have recently won the World Series.
Good
Go
for
Braves.
them.
Almost as good as the Red Sox, but go Braves. So
my boyfriend is a Braves fan, so that's my excuse. Otherwise, Angels. So we'd like to be batting 1,000. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, that's right. Batting 1,000 on all of our pitches for our clients, and that's just not reality. Pitches are a numbers game. If you've been in sales or owned a company and are reliant on them, it is a numbers game.
Yep.
And this week we started the week thinking that we would probably land a client on Monday morning. And here we are Wednesday. And this morning we sent an email to said potential client basically saying it's not going to work out. And I'm competitive enough that hitting enter and send on that email stung, just because it was like, we could have won this. We could have figured it out. So there's that side of it. I think there's the other side of it that we have difficult clients that it's just typical. They're great. Their mission is fantastic. We love being a part of their fabric as fractional CMOs. But some of them just don't want to let us do what they hired us to do. And that's, again, back to competitiveness. You and I are super talented, not to be brash, but like when we commit to work with a client, it's because we know we can fulfill on what we've said.
Absolutely.
And not being...
And you were competitive to want to feel the success of landing that client. And after so many email exchanges, I was like, this client is so far off into space. Houston, we have a problem. There's no coming back from this. So I was okay letting it float off into space. And you were like, I just really wanted to see it land successfully. And I'm like, no, let this one float away.
Absolutely. And so that's been part of the week, and then you hit on it. I've got 3 kids. And parenting is difficult right now. I don't want to make light of it, but in some sense, there's part of me that we got to a point with my son that, he started therapy this week. And there's one part of me that's like, I am so proud of my 15-year-old for going to therapy and talking about the stuff that he's trying to battle through, as Brene Brown says, doing the hard work as a 15-year-old that I didn't start doing until I was in my 30s. So proud of him. And then there's the other part of me that's like, I so broke that dude that he needs therapy at 15 years old.
No, I don't think it's
Yeah,
you.
I know.
I have a lot of friends with kids in the teenage, even young
Yep.
adult age, and they are struggling. And it's
Yeah.
blame it on the global pandemic, blame it on
Yep.
where we're at right now, just
Yep.
a number of factors and issues. But there was a lot of transition that adults
Yep.
couldn't even cope with last year.
Yep.
So to
Absolutely.
expect a teenager to be able to handle that,
Uh-huh.
that's just their world is so small. I used to
Mm-hmm.
mentor teenagers at Saddleback Church when I was there,
Mm-hmm.
and I would always just say, like, your world is this little four-cornered box that is high school.
Yep.
You don't
Yep.
know a world outside of that. And if that
Yep.
crumbles, that is your whole world. There's no
Yep.
vernacular. And I think you've done a good job at showing your kids, like, this is a life in Charleston. This is a life in
Yeah.
Houston. This is a
Yeah.
life in Georgia. Like, there are worlds outside, but yeah, it's been hard on everyone. And so to expect teenagers to be able to handle that, like adults who most adults have not been able to handle it, it's just a lot. And so we feel for
Yeah.
them.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And it's just, highs and lows. That's where we are. It is.
Well, I had a high, not to brag.
Yep. Yeah. No, go ahead.
My
You had
boyfriend
two
got
highs.
back.
That's
Oh,
right. And then you had a fantastic meal with one of our favorite clients.
yes, favorite client that we cannot name yet.
Yep.
Was visiting to go to Napa for a few days.
Yep.
And yeah, I just got to have a good meal with he and his wife. And
Yep.
my boyfriend got back from his deployment and he came back early, praise the Lord, which
Oh, good.
we always prayed for, and it never happens. Like, it's military,
Yeah.
it's not going to
Yep.
happen, but it happened because God is bigger than the military. So yeah, that was just really, really exciting, and still coming off the high of that. And then he's the Braves fan, the biggest Braves fan. So getting to watch the game last night and root for them with him and see them win the World Series, it was just,
That's special.
oh, it was so nice. And 7-0 score, like, come on. 7 is the biblical number of completion, and they completed the World Series with the blessings of the Lord, I want to say. Why not? Let's go there.
That's so good.
Maybe
That's
Joel
so
should have
good.
gone to the Houston's game. They might have done better.
Maybe.
Just
Maybe.
kidding.
I sure do love that guy. He is a huge sports fan too. He's a Rockets fan more than anything. So yeah. Good stuff. So
Yeah.
difficult week.
Mhm.
One of the other difficulties that we have had this week that you and I have both acknowledged
Mhm.
is that we consistently are coaching in the CMO role. Our
Mhm.
clients need to be producing content.
Yes.
How's that going for you this week?
Are you guiding me somewhere that I'm not seeing right now?
No, like
I think it's going well.
Yeah, right. And that's it. It's the highs and the lows. For you, it's been great. I'm in a dry patch. Like, I can't create content to save my life right now. I've rewritten one blog post 4 times. I trashed it yesterday and started over. And so,
Like
yeah. So, in the highs and the lows. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But for you, it's going well.
On the client that I'm managing with the team right now, they are just rolling with their content. And we did some metrics to see like what we accomplished last month. And there were really, really great accomplishments. And it's funny because if you would have asked them before we set strategy in place, they were getting some greens as far as growth in numbers in certain areas. But those were complete vanity metrics that eventually did not lead to sales, did not lead to new customers. And the new metrics that we're seeing the greens in are leading to engaged new customers, new reach. And so that's just so great. I love seeing it, and they love seeing it too.
Absolutely.
And I think that was important for them to go and do the work, to look at the metrics and to see that, wow, the work we've been doing under this strategy has been paying off. And it's exciting to see because they contributed to it. So
that's correct. That's correct. I mean, super
so
proud of them because, absolutely. Super proud of them because, when we arrived on the scene, it was flatlined. As we came out of our marketing audit, which we prefer to start all clients going through the marketing audit, the numbers looked okay. They knew that we knew and presented back to the leadership team that if we don't do something quick, you're going to be in decline. And we laid out a strategy, and their team has executed on it. And it's not all going up and to the right, but
Right.
most of it's going up and to the right. Like, they've stuck to the strategy. They
Mm-hmm.
bought into the strategy themselves.
Yeah.
And then they've committed to create based on the strategy that was handed to them. And when I saw the monthly report that you guys went through, I got super excited just because it's like,
Especially with YouTube. Oh my gosh. That'll be a
yeah,
whole nother happy
yep,
hour discussion on
absolutely,
YouTube. But
yep,
yeah. And the funny thing is even before the audit, they were doing these weekly metric reports. But when we started asking them to explain what they meant, they couldn't explain it. They
that's
didn't
correct.
know
That's correct.
what
Yep,
they were
yep.
reporting on. It just was what they had always been doing. So
Mm-hmm.
if you would have asked, were they looking at metrics before we dove really deep into their metrics? No, they really weren't. They were just checking off, do weekly metrics
That's
and
correct.
capture this,
That's
this,
correct.
this, and this.
Yep.
And when you dove a little deeper, like, well, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that number low this week? I don't know.
Right.
So it's just been such a great season of growth, and I'm just excited for where we're prepping them to go
Yep.
into this holiday season.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How about for you?
And
Besides writing content, you've been working with other clients too.
I have. So one of our clients is, we have been with them since the beginning of the year and doing, again, in the CMO, fractional CMO space, helping them specifically with YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And October was the best month that their organization has had in their history.
Wow.
And when we arrived on the scene, YouTube was an afterthought. It was something that they were actively updating content, but they weren't seeing amazing growth. And so they've got a huge project that launches on Sunday this week. And so I talked them into taking a risk. And actually, it was a mutual conversation that out of the conversation, we decided to take a risk on doing some pretty heavy advertisement with YouTube to market this initiative for them. And it's been huge. Like, it's just been super successful. And I think you're right. We do need to do another happy hour just talking about YouTube, because both the clients that we've talked about today, neither one of them are doubling down on creating new amazing YouTube content. Yeah. They're just repurposing content. And one of the client I work really closely with, their content really should not perform well on YouTube at all. And we're seeing...
Yeah, it's pretty sensitive.
Yeah, it's very sensitive. And it's also the type of content that they're loading shouldn't perform on YouTube at all. But we got in front, we laid the strategy out, found out the target audience, and positioned them quite well. And we've just doubled down on it all. And so we've got a new blog on the website talking about YouTube and YouTube optimization. And it's come from all these conversations. It's no secret that I was on staff at Lakewood for a season, continuing to help them. That's one that we can talk publicly about. But continuing to help them with optimization and helping Joel specifically with optimization. And the thing is people think that YouTube has to be all this, would be a better way of saying it, all this new original content for YouTube to see the growth that all the influencers are doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you take a close look at Joel's content, his YouTube account is exploding, all organic, no money being spent to grow it in any way, form, or fashion. And it's the same content that you can hear on his podcast. You can listen to it on his website, watch it on his website, watch it on his app. You can listen to it on Spotify. You can listen to it on XM Radio. You can listen to it on iTunes.
Joel Osteen is a worldwide household name.
I love that guy. It's no secret. Like, if anyone asked me, what was your time like working for Lakewood? It was amazing. I love Pastor Joel. As long as Haley and Digifora and I can be a part of what he's doing, we'll do it. But that is absolutely not true. Like, it is not true that it is just because it's Joel Osteen that his is exploding. And the reason that I can guarantee that is we spun up a Spanish version of his YouTube account, and it has Spanish voice overdubs with the same English video, and it will have 500,000 subscribers by the end of this year. And it has nothing to do with his name, but because he's less recognized in Spanish speaking countries, but it's because we're going through and purposely optimizing and tagging the keywords. We're coming up with descriptions. We're working on all the strategies, all the building blocks. And every time you build a strategy and base it on actual fact versus gut reaction, and I'm a gut reaction kind of guy, but when you base all your structure on actual fact, research, and strategy,
Magnifico. That was my Spanish.
there's some other things in there that we're not going to give away, but there's some other things in there that you can do that just jumpstart the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we keep seeing it over and over again, and which is why on our homepage we talk about one of our three products that we offer, and it's a sweet spot for us, is getting YouTube jump started and optimized. That's correct. And there's revenue aspects involved with that we're having conversations with some of our clients. I love that nonprofits are getting okay with optimizing and monetizing their videos. Why shouldn't they be? So anyways, highs and lows, working with that one client that's had their best ever month on YouTube. It was definitely a high this week for sure.
You know what I just thought about too? Like some of the clients that we've helped grow their YouTube accounts don't even necessarily have a single product that they're selling.
Nope, they don't.
Like a service or...
They don't.
I don't know.
It's all value add.
Profit. Yeah. That's so crazy.
It is. But
you can do it, guys. You can do it. We can help.
That's right.
I'm going to link that blog on our SEO for YouTube optimization in the show notes for this. So you can just click on it below, guys, and we would love for you to check that out. But moving on from our little rant on our love for YouTube and our love for our clients that love to grow YouTube. What are some key ways that we can, because there's going to be highs and lows of every week, sometimes every day with work, and then balancing that with highs and lows of family. And I have a few points of things that we can talk to. Time management, that is a key thing that you can use to balance between highs and lows of family and highs and lows of work. One of the game-changing things that I discovered in time management, not just working in blocks, but I'm very ADD. So I can think of, I need to do this, and then I need to do this. And so writing lists helps, but usually like when it's top of my mind and I can just do it and complete it, I get a lot more done versus leaving it to a list and then hopefully remembering to look back at the list later. But that has been game changing for me. What has been a game changing time management tool for you, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, I want to say first, like, you frustrate the heck out of me. Let's just be honest. Yes, you do. Because you get things done so darn fast.
Like I thought you were going to go somewhere else with that.
Okay. On podcast number 2, Haley's like, oh my God, this is awkward. No, but the thing, because what I love about what you do is you do block time management so well. And Haley disappears for hours at a time. And I love it because when she's gone, I know she's just crushing it. And she's working through all the things I've given her to do, things that clients need from her, and things that the team that she represents needing her to get done. And things that take Haley 4, 5, 10, 20 minutes to do sometimes take me a half a day to do. When it gets to execution, I tend to bog down, and because I'm such a big picture thinker, I am as I'm executing, I'm thinking about 17 other things that we could do for ourselves, for our clients, and all that type of stuff. I am not a good time management person, but even in the digital space, what my hack is, Evernote. Okay, it's just pages and pages and pages of notes of stuff.
That's not
and this is
Evernote that I have.
Yeah,
it's
so
like
this
a
is
manual version.
It is a manual, and it's a big. It's got graph paper. There's no lines because lines stress me out. And
interesting.
And it is my hack, and this is my brain. And if I lose this, it is very, 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 very detrimental. I have
my Michael Hyatt full focus planner.
Yeah, I've tried those
as an AD person.
Chad Cannon sent me one of those, and I loved it. And I really probably should circle back to it.
Look at my little check mark.
That's so good.
So great.
In case you think I'm joking about Evernotes,
Whoa, whoa.
I have 7 more
Why they
beside
all
me.
got to
So
be black though?
well done.
I switched my colors up from gray to navy
Well,
blue to dark gray. Oh, there's a yellow. Or is that
brown is
cardboard?
brown is personal. Yes. So, anyways, so
Personal.
that's my hack. Is it is writing things down. There's also something the way my brain works is if I write it down, I traditionally don't forget it. And
Mm-hmm.
so that and if I showed you the notes from our Digifora meetings and whatnot, most of it you can't read because it's a brain dump, and
Yep.
the brain dump is I can go back and find the bullet point that I'm looking for, but it's more cognitively if I write it down. I traditionally don't forget it, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's when I'm in meetings and making notes is because I'm genuinely concerned I'm not going to remember it, and so yeah. So new rhythms for me is with time management. My day starts at 6:30. I get up and do reading time with my son. And by 7:15, that's wrapping up, and I'm on my computer. And I have found that from 7:15 to about 8:30 is when I get 90% of my work done. And I'm in
It's
like
unfortunate
responding to.
because 7 is 4 o'clock my time.
That's correct. And so I also know that, and I need to get better about scheduling delivery emails because Haley wakes up and there's like 7,000 Slack messages and emails that she's got to check into. But whatever. That's my
So I
hack.
have to
It's
be
just
fast
fine.
because I already feel behind when I'm starting.
I mean, so it's not really a hack. It's more just in the highs and lows of everything.
Mm-hmm.
At 43 years old, I finally have figured out what works for me. And I really don't like,
That's great.
I am a one tool kind of guy. Like, let's
Mm-hmm.
find one tool. We're using Notion as a company
Mm-hmm.
to kind of track stuff. And it's more just, I don't care what it is. I'm not going to like it anyways. I just commit to using it. So,
Yeah, I like it. So time management is
well, I
great.
know.
Boundaries. That's the next tip for balancing the highs and lows is boundaries. So it's okay to say no to something so that you can say yes to something else. And I read the book Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud when I was in
Yep.
seminary, and it was the best thing because we both have worked for churches, and church leaders are the worst at boundaries. I will definitively say, even if they preach about boundaries, worst of doing it ever that I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
So that was a really key book for me in growing in that space of saying no. And when you do say no, it's uncomfortable for a lot of people that lack boundaries.
That's
But
correct.
at least you have yours and you can utilize your time management skills to get more things done as well. And so what does that look like for you with boundaries? I mean, you kind of just told us about your schedule, but.
Yeah, so that's a weekly schedule. One of my boundaries for work for Digifora and the kind of the culture I've been trying to set for us as we grow is I don't respond to work emails Saturday and Sunday. I might read them. I don't respond to them. So I am in my inbox, but it's more looking for an emergency in case one of our clients is having an emergency, and that's the path they've chosen to get in touch with me. But Saturday and Sunday, I don't respond to emails. And my other commitment to our team is that I'm not going to talk to you probably Saturday and Sunday. Text me a photo of you and your boyfriend at a football game, or or some of our contract employees have kids. Like, send me a photo of your kid. I love that. But when it comes to work, I don't want to talk to you on Saturday or Sunday unless we've pre-designated. Like, you and I have some travel days coming up soon that we're traveling on Sunday. And so that changes a little bit, but unless it's been designated as a work day, one of my boundaries is Saturday and Sunday, I don't communicate about work.
Yeah. And
we also,
we're a small team, and we've also taken, it's so easy to just text each other. Oh, did you see this client email, or did you see this? But we've tried to make a concerted effort to move those types of work messages into Slack. So we're checking our Slack channel instead of utilizing text messages for really emergencies and then personal use only.
I mean, because we've all had those text messages from a boss where it's like Saturday morning at 9 and you see them text and you're like, I don't know if they are about to ask me to do something because they forgot or they need something fixed, or they're going to tell me about something they did last night. And I really don't know if I want to read this right now because I don't know which one it's going. And so what I'm trying to help us, and you've been great about it, is, man, when you get a text message from me, like, hey, this isn't work, this is fun. Like, so what's going on? Like, what silly story do you have to tell me about Charlotte or something like that? And so, yeah. That's one of my boundaries is trying to set up. We talked about morning boundaries. I am the world's worst sleeper, and so when it comes to work through the day, I
I think
I
I try to make
usually
sure too that you unplug, Justin. Like
you do
when I look
you
at,
do.
oh gosh, it's like 5 or 6 p.m. Eastern time. You need to go spend time with your family, and then I can
Yep,
take
you do.
over whatever emails as long as I'm feeling confident
Yep,
enough to be able to reply
yep,
for both of us. But I think
absolutely
that's
you
a
do.
good balance too of our bi-coastal company
Yep,
as well.
yep. What are yours? Like, what are some of your boundaries? You've talked about some that we have. What do you have personally?
Well, the next point kind of gets to my personal boundaries. And
Hmm.
the next point is so we talked about time management and then boundaries and then detach from work. And this has been something that I've had to
Mm,
grow in since working from home completely full time. I mean, going into COVID, we didn't know
yep,
it would be as full time. And then working together,
yep,
it
yep,
became very full times, obviously
yep.
working from home to home offices. But one of the boundaries that I have for this is to have like a hard stop time at the end of my day. And I found that the best way to do this is I'll either like go to a CrossFit class at
Yep,
4:30 or
yep,
go work out with my friends at their house at 5.
yep. Good for you.
And my like I'm getting physical activity in,
Yep.
but I have to stop. I have to go change in my workout clothes and leave. And the Mayo Clinic actually recommends dressing up when you're working during your workday, like you would be at an office, which
I feel attacked right now.
I mean, we're in happy hour, so there's no judgment here.
This is my
uh,
work outfit: my hoodie, my hat, and my
it's
button-up shirt.
Digifora, it looks official. And then when you're done with your workday, transition into just
Yeah.
regular
Yep.
chill clothes or sweats or whatever you want to do. So changing into workout clothes for me is really like what does it. And
Mental
then
transition. Yeah.
yeah, I can work out my frustrations or excitements for the day or
Sure.
just
Sure.
disconnect from work altogether. And I'm
Yep.
leaving the house to go do that. And then I'm coming back and it's home. It's not my
Yep.
workspace at
Good
that
for you.
point. Yeah.
I love it. I
What
am
do you
not
do?
disciplined like that. I'm not disciplined like that. Like I, if you see me at a formal event, if you see me at church, you see me on a meeting, a business meeting, or we're going to dinner together, I tend to wear the same thing
Yeah, I noticed.
24/7. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm
It's
kidding.
called the 43-year-old white guy dress code. It's just what I wear. But no, for me, my office workspace is on the top floor of the house that we live in.
Uh-huh.
And for me, it is as I go down the hall and make the round the corner to go down the stairs for the last time for the day, it is I have a mental exercise. Put it down. Your family needs your attention.
Mm-hmm.
Haley is more than capable. That's why you brought her on as a partner to take it the rest of the day
Oh,
and just be
thanks.
at peace is kind of the thought process that I have as I'm going down the 2 flights of stairs. It's because it is a mental, I have to shift that gear.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I mean, I've had my kids say, Dad, you're here with us, but your brain's still upstairs.
Mm.
And that's a little bit of a dagger. But it's so,
Yeah.
and that's so part of my commitment to them is that, okay, cool. Because we do work from home and
Mm-hmm.
we're all in this house 24/7 because we homeschool our kids. Like it is I have to do something to make, and it used to be when I was driving to offices when I worked at Lakewood or Seacoast, that drive time was a separation and COVID destroyed that. So I
Yeah.
had to come up with interestingly enough, during COVID and now where we live, there's a stairway, and I kind of started the stair going down the stair process when we were living in Houston,
How
just
many
as
podcasts
a
do you get to listen to on the stairway commute?
I'm about 2 minutes into the first episode of the whatever the Mars Hill podcast.
I know. That's what I do miss about not having a commute is there's
I do
no
too.
like
I do too.
decompressing
I
space
am
for
saving a whole
podcast
lot more
time.
money on Audible books by not having a drive time.
Oh, I'm
That
saving
was
a lot more in gas because we're at like $5 a gallon in California, but it's worth it for me.
understood. Understood. Yes.
So we have detached from work, boundaries, time management, and then the last one, I'm sure there's plenty more, but the last important one for managing highs and lows in your
Yep.
workspace and in your personal life is just maintain healthy habits outside of
Yeah.
work. So this
Yep.
is crucial. Mental health has been a buzz topic lately, and I don't know
Yep.
that it's really a buzz issue other than so many people are just
Talking
dealing
about it.
with a lack of these boundaries and detaching from
Yeah.
work and feeling your feelings and identifying those feelings.
Yep.
So Detach from Work includes exercise, cooking, reading, taking a walk, volunteering
Yep.
somewhere, spending time with friends. For me, I would say exercise. I love doing my CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I don't feel like getting out, just hitting up the Peloton. Cooking
Yep.
is not a thing for me, really. So that's more of a
Mm-hmm.
chore.
Yep.
Reading, taking a walk has been a great separator of like, oh
Uh-huh.
gosh, that was a low email I
Yep.
just saw. I need to go
Yep.
outside and take a walk. And I know you do that. You practice that
I
too,
do.
Justin.
I do. Yeah, I am a pretty consistent 2:30, 3 o'clock walker because that's when sugar levels, energy levels start to wane pretty rapidly and getting out. We've got a nice little walk through the neighborhood that I take. And so definitively that is part of my ritual to move. Um, so yeah.
Yeah.
And then when we moved to the house that we're in now, we got a old school charcoal griller like your
Cool.
grandparents had in the 80s and 90s.
Like the little
And
ones?
I have loved learning how to grill on a charcoal grill because you don't get in a hurry. Like if you get in a hurry, you end up ruining everything. And it's been a learning process. And that's my other kind of out right now is
Hmm.
we grill probably 3 nights a week. And it's for me, I get super excited about it. And it
And you can
takes, it
catch
takes a,
crab. That's not a
yeah, I
thing.
mean, we can catch crabs off of our dock. We've not yet grilled those. I'm not sure I want
Aw.
to after I realize we won't get into it today, but what we use to catch them, knowing that that's what they eat, I'm not sure I'll ever eat crab again in my life.
Oh, the chicken?
The
Oh,
raw chicken,
yeah.
like, the smellier the better.
That's a no for me.
We're going to go with a hard no. So, yeah, so
Yeah.
those are, and I think that all of that's important. Movement is key for me. And so I actually go downstairs a lot through the day. It is to check on the kids, see how they're doing with school. But it's also just the little, like literally going up and down the stairway just to get my brain going again. And you and I
That's
both
great.
have standing desk, and that changes posture. We've learned changes brain set as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it is movement is what keeps me. I'm a nicer guy the more I move.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think you also, it does something to your mind, breathing in fresh air. And then
Mm-hmm.
you get a lot of ideas too when you
Yep.
just
You know.
detach and go out for a walk. And it helps you think more clearly of maybe you might respond a lot differently to a disgruntled client's email when you
Yep.
come back than you would have if you just tackled it right away. And so a little
Absolutely.
bit of space and perspective and some distance really does a body good. And so,
Yep.
what else?
So I
Oh,
got a question for you.
yeah,
Scientifically, where is the number one place that people come up with new ideas?
the shower.
That's right.
I'm right.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
For me, I actually get excited about taking my shower every morning after I've done reading time and checked email because there's a whole, there are hundreds of studies out on the internet you can go read that it is
Mhm.
the ions and
Mhm.
the water hitting your head and all that type of stuff. But I genuinely excited because I usually get clarity for you and I for the company
Oh, cool.
around 8:30 in the morning with the day. It also is there's no one around, there's no music, there's no email, there's no, and so that's part of it too. So,
I mean,
yep.
for me, I'm kind of maximizing since maybe girls have more hair and shampoo and condition and treat it. And so it takes a little longer. So I'm maximizing that time and using that time to listen to podcasts. That's my commute time.
So good.
So I probably don't
So
get
good.
ideas that way, but it's okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There are times for that. Well, I'm going to wrap this up for us. Thank you for joining us for another happy hour. We hoped you
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed. We just wanted some real talk about, gosh, this
Absolutely.
week's been kind of hard, but it's also been kind of
Mm-hmm.
great. And what is that? The highs and lows of workplace. And also, we're experiencing highs and lows in our personal life. And we know you guys do
Yeah.
too every day. So we hope
Yep.
that these tools of maintaining healthy habits outside of work, detaching from work, boundaries and time management are all as helpful for you as they have been for us. And if you have any great things that you do to detach from work or time management
Yep.
hacks, we'd love to
Yep.
hear those. So put those in the comments below and we will see you next time for happy hour. Thanks for
Love it.
joining us.